One of my favorite things to do is observe what's happening in the online coaching industry space. And I first became aware of coaching back in 2020 when I hired my very first business coach, and that changed my life for the better. And that's how I actually discovered that I wanted coaches to be the niche that I helped. I see it as doing my part to do good in the world because you all are doing good by helping clients get different transformations in different fields. And I'm helping you to learn how to run the back end of your business and figure out tech issues, which is what I love to do. And so it's like a match made in heaven. It's just a double blessing. And so now that it's been about 6 years, I feel like I've seen the trends and not just marketing, but the systems trends, the tools, the buying behavior, and how coaches are actually running their businesses. And I find it all fascinating and really fun to talk about. So here we are. And there are a handful of trends, 7 to be exact, that I am noticing that I think every coach should be paying attention to. And that's because being a coach is also being a business owner. And one mark of a good business owner is understanding how to adapt and pivot when needed. In case we're meeting for the first time, hi, I'm Sha-day, and I teach coaches how to simplify the back end of their businesses so they can spend less time wrestling with technology and more time serving their clients and growing their income. Now, let's get into the very first trend that I'm seeing. Number one, buyers are more skeptical than ever. And I don't blame them. I'm one of them. And that's because people don't simply buy because someone is calling themselves a coach. And rightfully so, because even though there are coaching certifications out there that you can earn, technically anyone can call themselves a coach or identify as one because of the type of work that they're doing. And I don't fault them for that because if you think you're coaching, you're probably coaching. But what buyers are now asking are questions like, can this person actually help me? Or do they have proof? Or do I even trust them? So, with this in mind, what you need as a coach is authority, you need consistency, you definitely need transparency. And eventually, as you start getting more clients, you need to be showing those real client results. So now that you're in this online space, that means that it's so important that you are showing up, you're being visible, you're sharing your expertise. And that is so vital because what you're doing is you're building trust. And trust is what makes it way easier for people who discover you to eventually say yes to working with you once they're ready. Trend number 2, simplicity is winning. Years ago, before we had all of the software that we do now, that is, all in one and very niche and can help you do all the things, coaches had to stack together maybe a dozen tools just to get a client onboarded, or they had to create very complicated funnels or piece together a bunch of things to create endless automations. But now a lot of coaches are simplifying because they are seeing tools out here like paperbell, like kajabi, that can do a lot of the heavy lifting for them, and in a lot of cases actually end up being way more cost efficient as well. And the reason why they are simplifying is it actually makes so much sense on both the back end for them as well as for their clients. Because when you have tools like Paperbell, for example, in place, it reduces a lot of the friction that comes with onboarding a client and getting them into your world. So, really, what's happening is less tech usually equals a better client experience. So the lesson to learn here, I think, is that you don't need to build the most complicated business. What you need to do and focus on is building a business that is super easy to buy from. So you want to make it very easy for someone to say yes to working with you. That can mean that if they want to book a call with you, all you have to do is send over a link, they click on it, and it is super easy for them to enter their info, send you a payment, and get booked on your calendar. Not a ton of back and forth emails or back and forth DMs. You want the process to be very seamless and as automated as possible. So I encourage you to take a look at your own business today and ask yourself, where can I make this simpler? And if you're stuck, be sure to leave your question in the comments below because I will be sure to read them. I have committed to getting much better at that. Unfortunately, I usually have my notifications turned off, and that's because you get a lot when it comes to YouTube and you have a channel, and I'm also an avid YouTube watcher, so the notifications just get out of control. But I use Asana to manage my business and daily life. So I have added on there a daily task to actually check my comments. So if you've been waiting on a reply from me, expect that soon. My apologies in advance. I'm sorry. I know I'm getting it together. Trend number 3, AI is raising the standard. AI tools like ChatGPT and Claude are making it easier than ever to create things like emails or captions for your Instagram posts or sales pages, even creating different lead magnets. And although I do see that as a great tool, unfortunately, what it means is that average content is everywhere. I said unfortunately, but really that's actually an advantage for you because now you can be the coach who stands out because instead of using a generic ChatGPT type caption, you are now going to come with experience. You are going to have a unique perspective. You have a personality and you have a brain. You have original thinking, which is so vital in the online space because, like I said, there's a lot of average posts out there now, and people are now able to see through the chat GPT type speak. And so if you appear to not be using it, you're automatically going to be standing out. I'm thinking I might do a whole separate video on AI because I have a lot of thoughts about this. I think it's a great tool, but I think now more than ever, your human insight, your human experience in the coaching industry matters more than ever. So I'd say don't necessarily worry about competing with AI. Instead, I want you to focus on sharing your experiences, sharing your opinions, sharing the lessons that you've learned from your clients and the stories that you're allowed to share. Because, of course, AI can help you create content, but it's just never going to replace your individual unique perspective. And that's what's going to show through in the content that you're creating and is really going to help you connect with people and really resonate with your future clients. Trend number 4, personal brands are becoming more important. This is kind of similar to the last trend because there is so much artificial intelligence now, meaning a lot of things appear to be fake online. Because you're actually a real person, you are going to stand out. People want to buy from other people. And I'm speaking for myself very loudly in that fact. I am extremely turned off if I am searching for a coach to work with and everything about their profile is essentially fake. And that's not me being judgmental because obviously there is a market for that. So if you think your ideal client is attracted to that, great. But if you have fake artificial people on your page, things that just don't seem authentic, that could be a big turnoff for people. So personal brands, I think, are where it's at. Showing your face is going to be vital, not the AI generated version of your face, but your real face is really going to make you stand out now. And you could have, the prettiest website, the prettiest logo, but like I said, people are still going to buy from people and it's going to be from people that they trust because they actually see that they're real and they can feel that authenticity. So pick the way that you want to show up. Do you want to show up on YouTube like I am? Do you want to show up on a podcast? Do you want to do a newsletter, form or create a community, maybe a new Facebook group? Pick the way you want to connect with people and create your personal brand from there. Trust me, I know how tempting it is to want to just hide behind maybe graphics or pretty quotes that you made in Canva or your perfectly designed posts with the beautiful stock image that you found. And nothing is inherently wrong with those, but I know if you're watching this, you might be feeling a little nudge in your side. And so this might be your sign to actually show up more often because people want to know who's behind this business. If I'm going to be working one-on-one with a coach and sharing all of my private information with you and my dreams and, depending on what your niche is, a business is can be a very personal thing. So I want to know, who am I actually going to be talking to you? Do we vibe? Do you have the energy, the aura that I'm looking for? So take this as a sign to put yourself out there and build your personal brand. Trend number 5, community is replacing massive audiences. The beauty of social media is that you don't necessarily need 100,000 followers, a million followers in order to make money, to have impact, or to find your first client or even your first 10 clients. What you need is, let's say, 500 people who genuinely trust you. And I say 500, but it could be 100. I like the metaphor that I've heard where, maybe you get your first 10 followers and that just doesn't seem like a lot. But imagine if you invited 10 people over to your house and they all had to sit in your living room. That's a lot of people. And then you get your first 50 followers. Imagine if you had to invite them to your house. That's a lot of people to help. So I don't want you to get caught up in the numbers. I want you to get caught up in attracting your ideal client. Because the more you're focused on that, the numbers are just going to naturally come with that. And I say this as a small creator myself currently. Of course, I have dreams of being, the biggest YouTuber and getting my plaque for getting 100,000 subscribers. And I know that's going to come one day. It's not today, and that's okay because I am still working on building my personal brand. And so when you focus on creating a community, you're going to be able to start conversations. That community is going to give you referrals and you're going to create repeat buyers. And I find this really encouraging because it means that you don't have to go viral to build a successful coaching business. And how many influencers have you heard about who have, over 1 million followers and yet they're still broke, or just when they do introduce a product, it doesn't sell. And that's because they probably focused on the numbers instead of attracting the people who they can actually help. So build your small, super engaged community, and that's going to outperform a huge, large audience who doesn't even know you. Trend number 6, coaches need better operations. When you first start your coaching business, you absolutely need to be focused on marketing, focused on sales, getting the clients in the door. But if you're not careful, that can lead to you drowning behind the scenes. So you've got to find the balance between marketing, getting new leads in the door, but also managing your business behind the scenes so that you're not on a road to burnout. So I found that when someone starts a coaching business, they are juggling their onboarding process, their scheduling, payment issues, client communication, and then also scattered notes, scattered files, all that comes with the admin. And so that's normally okay when you have, let's say, 1 to 5 clients. But then when you increase that to, let's say, 10, 20, 50, that growth, especially if it's a very fast growth, which generally is what you want, that growth is what's going to uncover your operational problems. And so this is why I'm always encouraging coaches to implement systems into their business, even though systems don't feel glamorous. And ironically, sometimes you can get a little attached to that mess because it just feels comfortable, and having to create a more streamlined system can feel uncomfortable because maybe you don't know how to do it or it's your first time. And so I encourage implementing those systems regardless of what stage you're at in your business, because that's what's going to allow you to scale without burning out. And because I love systems so much, I did create the Systems That Sell 3-day challenge, and it's specifically for coaches. And it's where you take just 3 days to finally take action on streamlining and automating your business. On day 1, we pick the tech system that you're going to use in your business. On day 2, we develop your client onboarding system. And then on day 3, we figure out your sales system so that you can actually keep clients coming in while maintaining your current ones. And so if you're realizing that your business could use stronger systems, I've left the link to the replay of this challenge in the description of this video, and I made it super affordable, so go ahead and check it out. But before you go, let's get into trend number 7. Sustainable businesses are replacing hustle. I actually became aware of this trend back in 2020 when I hired my first coach. Her name is Gina DeVee, and she's all about divine living, which is the name of her company. And I've seen that, she's obviously grown even bigger since I worked with her. And I've noticed that more coaches, specifically women coaches, are asking, how can I create a business that I actually enjoy running? Instead of the past, which was a more hustle mentality where they were asking, how can I make 6 figures as fast as possible? So this is actually very personal to me, since in the last year, I actually got laid off from my 9 to 5 job, or 8 to 5 technically. And it has been very tempting throughout this time that I've been laid off to just go back to that hustle mentality of, well, how can I just make the money fastest? And I've had to work with myself and my impatience sometimes to remember that I'm trying to build a specific business model that will support the lifestyle that I want to grow and continue to live. And so what comes with building a sustainable business versus a hustling business is creating healthier workloads and knowing when to say no, even if the thing you're saying no to will give you money. It's building recurring revenue wherever you can in your business. It's creating better client experiences, which will come naturally when you're treating yourself better and taking better care of yourself. You're naturally, as a coach, going to provide a better client experience. And it also means that you're implementing smarter systems, like I just talked about, because since you have this online business, that means that you can actually lean more on tech strategically, of course, and you can lean on it where it matters and where it makes sense so that it can actually help you to save time and create different automations so that you don't have to be doing all the work that you might be doing right now. And so for some people, it is a mindset shift because some people it's just natural to want to do all the things, especially if you are a little bit of a control freak on the inside, like I can be sometimes. But sometimes letting it go to tech or to different automations is going to be a great blessing. So I don't want you to be scared. I'm here to hold your hand the whole way. I definitely think this trend is one of the healthiest shifts that I see happening in the industry because instead of asking, how can I work harder as a woman? Because we worked hard enough, you can start asking, how can I build a business that actually supports my life and the life I actually want? And thinking about that word sustainable, because you're implementing these different systems, you're setting boundaries and you're simplifying your business, it's not necessarily that you're doing less. It means that you are creating a business that's actually going to be there for the long haul. So, did I miss anything? I feel like that those 7 really summed up the last 6 or so years. So, I think that coaches who are going to be thriving in the next few years are definitely the ones who can stay adaptable and who are willing to keep learning and who can simplify wherever they can, because that means that they're going to be building a business that serves their clients, but also serves themselves. So, if you have any other trends that you'd like to talk about, leave them in the comments. Don't forget to check out the Systems That Sell 3-day challenge replay to get those systems implemented into your business today. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.